WIFO-FM in Jessup, Big Dog Country Radio. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here for this 13th day of October. It's brought to you by O'Quinn & Associates, Murphy Builder Supply, Van's Barbecue, and First Southern Bank.
Are you looking for an insurance company that you can call and talk to a live person? Are you looking for an insurance company where you can walk in and talk to an agent? Are you looking for an insurance company that offers multiple companies so they can try and get you the best rate? If you said yes to any of these, then you need to call or come by O'Quinn & Associates Insurance Financial Services. We offer multiple companies so we can find the best fit for you. Give us a call at 385-1000 or stop by our office at 212 South First Street right here in Jessup.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jessup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
When it comes to barbecue, Van's Barbecue in Jessup is the place to be. A small family-owned business located at 1876 on the Savannah Highway. Van's Barbecue has lunch and dinner special. Stop by or call to make an order. The number to call, 427-3358. Van's Barbecue's new manager is Sarah Van. Van's Barbecue offers potato salad, coleslaw, baked beans, and don't forget their delicious mac and cheese. Also, check out their shrimp plates, the best in town. Yes, when it comes to barbecue, head to Van's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. Stop by and tell them the Big Dog sent you. Once again, the number to order, 427-3358.
Hi, I'm Raymond Brown.
And I'm Mandy Yeomans. At First Southern Bank, our customers are like family. As a locally owned community bank, we're dedicated to helping our clients succeed.
We have loans for every need, whether it's personal or business. We have lines of credit, auto loans, equipment loans, and of course, we offer mortgages. Stop by our bank or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
The world-famous Butch and Bob Show.
All right, world-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jessup, Big Dog Country Radio. And, Bob, a very important game today for our Lady Jacket softball team.
Yeah, we'd like to encourage everybody to come on out and support the girls today. Again, the region title on the line. Got a chance to win that region and host that Super Regional next Tuesday and Wednesday here at home. So 5:30 game time. Come on out and support the Lady Yellow Jackets, pack the park, and let's get a big win against the Islands.
All right, this afternoon, 5:30 for the region championship. Going to be good weather by this afternoon. Well, here we are on this Thursday morning, the 13th day of October, and we do have a guest in this morning. Bob, who do we have?
We got County Commissioner Kevin McCrary in the studios with us. Appreciate him coming in.
I know what that is. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, Kevin, appreciate you coming in. Before we get to the county business, just curious, you got any comments about the city situation that took place last Friday? I know you and the mayor are good friends. The mayor's out of town, so I mean, and it affects the county as well.
Well, you're right. He, he told me before he left that this was going to be one of the things that was going to happen. They were going to have a call meeting, and it's the hidden agendas that are the problem in politics, and I'm just worried about how this is going to have an effect on the county with them shutting down any new licenses and things like that. People do listen to the radio, and they listen to those meetings when they're looking at bringing a job into our county, and it's sad. We've had, this is not a new problem. This has been an ongoing problem with the water and sewer system, and I think it needs to be taken care of, and we need to go back to business as usual and let any industry or businesses come in here. And when you have an open door like that and you have the amenities that we have here in Wayne County, a lot of times we can pick and choose which businesses come in, and we don't have to scrape from the bottom of a barrel and take what's left over.
Again, meeting again at 1 o'clock today at City Hall for the second reading of that ordinance, and I know from what I hear, a lot more people are going to be at this meeting than were at the last meeting because no one knew about the last meeting. That was kind of a last-minute thing, but we'll see how it plays out. But again, you're in here to talk about county business. The county news is we reported the last meeting the county voted 3-2 to appoint Robbie Smart as their new chief registrar. We interviewed you and had the interview on the radio. Question I asked you is, why would they be changing registrars with the early voting beginning Monday? And your answer was, I have no idea. Do you have a better idea today?
Well, I have found out a lot more information since then, but no, I still don't know. And just like I said, the hidden agenda is the things that you have to worry about. They had 6 names given to them, not by the grand jury, but by other influential people that would be a part of the elections and things like that.
Now, you say who was given 6 names?
Herschel Hires.
The chairman of the commission.
Yes, he told us that in a meeting that he was given. He didn't tell us how many names, but he said he was given a list of names, and so I immediately asked for those names so that we could look through them and make sure. You know, in the election code book, it says that they need to be intelligent, judicious, and upright electors as registrars, and we were never given those names. And he came in to the meeting, and when that item came up on the agenda, he made the motion immediately that Robbie Smart would be named chief registrar, and Boot immediately seconded it. And I was kind of floored because I was hoping in our agenda book we would get the names, we could look through them. This is not a normal person, you know, it's not a normal appointment. This is a very, very strategic thing that we have to have somebody in there to stand up for voter integrity. And that's what we're all about. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever, you want integrity. You want your vote to be counted. And this is not the way to do it. And it clearly says in the Georgia election code book, the way that it's supposed to be done. I did ask if we had ever had the grand jury not give names to select for the registrars, and nobody could tell me when, if ever, they have not selected 3 to 5 names. It says they're supposed to select 3, no more than 5 names, give those names, and then the Superior Court judge would select a chief registrar from the registrars that are already in place.
Did you ever find out why you didn't get more than one name? Because when I talked to Kathy Keith, she also voted no on the motion. I joke with you all the time, you know, since Ralph left, I call you the lone wolf because it's always there used to be 3-2, now it's 3-1. And Kathy Keith voted with you, which kind of surprised me. So I called Kathy to see why she voted against the motion. She said the same thing, that she was told from the get-go they were going to get a list of 5 names or 6 names. And when they only listed one name, she just said she couldn't go along with the process. So any explanation why they just submitted the one name and not the 5 names that they were stating from? Like I said, this was on the agenda all the way back in September.
That's right.
And they kept tabling it. I cannot figure out what was going on. But a little bit I found out is, like I said, they want to make a change in registrar. Susan Ash was the chief registrar. Her appointment was ended, so they had time to appoint someone. But as you mentioned, for several months they told you we were going to get submitted several names, and only one name has been submitted. But Robbie Smart is now the chief registrar. But I understand Susan Ash still working in that office. Is that correct? As a chief deputy?
She is. She is at the moment. Her term has expired as registrar, and also Miss Cahill has hers has registered. Denzel Thomas, his was reappointed back in I think 2020, I believe. I'm not positive on that. Don't hold me to that. But he has already been appointed as a registrar, and we have 3 registrars. But
the thing that was surprising, like I said, with early voting starting Monday, it just seems like a strange time to be doing it, and that's what I kept asking, why doing it right now. But if you find any, is everything going to run smoothly starting Monday? Because the early voting starts Monday.
I'm hoping so. I've been making some calls and being in contact with those who are going to be over the election and monitoring things, and that's what we want to make sure of. It was funny to me, and I was proud. Commissioner Keith voted with me because, when she ran her election campaign, she said that we're going to have unity in the commission. And it was shocking to me that she went with me, but it's obvious that she's not going to go with something that's obviously not right and not handled the correct way. I mean, these commissioners have broken laws, gone against laws and broken laws before. They voted against going by the law. When the administrator was shifting money from one department to the next, it clearly states in the law book that that's against the law. And when I voted that we stop him from doing that, and not fire him, but just let him know that we're not going to put up with that, because we are in charge of the budget for the county. And we can't do that when you're shifting money from one budget to the next. When we set that budget, that's your budget, and that's it. And you should have to come before the commission to ask for anything more. Otherwise, we're not doing our job. But I was proud of Commissioner Keith for standing up, because she saw that it was not right, and we weren't given the names to select from people. We were just given one name, and I don't, you don't have time to do your legwork to find out if they are actually capable of doing that job. You won't find anybody better than Miss Susan, far as integrity and holding people accountable for when they come and either they're early voting or registering to vote or whatever. She's going to hold them accountable for it. And, I think she's done a good job of that. I was reading through the election code book, and it says clearly in there that the Superior Court judge can take those people out, and it says remove a chief registrar. So apparently after they find out they have done something wrong, the Superior Court judge can remove them from that office. And apparently she has done nothing wrong, because she was not removed. They just did not reappoint her. And I've heard over and over, I've talked to a lot of people since you and I talked before, you were asking me why this was happening. And I've heard nothing that justifies taking her off. The previous chief registrar was there, I believe, about 30 years, something like that.
Arnold was there a long time.
And that's normally how it goes, because this is not a job that you come into and anybody can pick it up. There's a lot of rules and regulations behind registering and running a voting system. I'm sure that Robbie has seen some of this through being our IT guy.
You know him, right? They say, explain what an IT guy is. That's the technical guy, right?
That's right. He goes in and he checks the computers to make sure all the software and things like that are updated. But that doesn't give you the laws and the rules and the regulations for registering somebody and doing other things that a registrar would actually do.
And I asked that question when I interviewed you, and I'll ask you again. Was there any problems with Susan Nash? I mean, were there any complaints about her? You said you don't know of any. So, I mean, like I said, her appointment, I understand they have a right to appoint, that's the old saying, we didn't fire him, we just didn't rehire him. I mean, I remember that years ago in a football situation. The term came up and they just didn't reappoint him. So same thing here. Her appointment ended, and so they just didn't reappoint her. But she'd been there for a while, so I just was curious. Have you heard any complaints, any problems?
It's the hidden agenda, Bob. That's the bottom line. They have some kind of agenda. They're wanting the new chief registrar to appoint the other registrars. Well, it clearly states in the Georgia election code book that's not how it's done. You pick the registrars, and then that's who you pick the chief registrar from. But it does not say that the chief registrar picks who he has to work on his board. I mean, that's how you're getting a monopoly on on how this system has worked. And, you know, the legislators worked tirelessly since 2020 to try to get voter integrity back, get the confidence back in the voters. And in this last election, I think the voters spoke very loud in the primary on who they wanted and who they wanted to represent this county. And Mike Gordon and Tim Hopkins are already commissioner-elects, and Jamie Hickox is running again. It's funny because, you know, she ran in the primary, she won that, and now she's having to run again. So we just need to make sure that the voters understand that there's something going on here, and we don't want anything to happen to our voter integrity. For when we go up there and vote, we want that to be counted just like it is, and no you know, we don't want anything in there to compromise that. So if we ever did have a recount or something like that, you know, Tammy Thornton has always done a fabulous job at what she does, and I have no doubt when I cast my vote, that's where it goes, and there's no change in that. But a lot of times, now it seems they have an agenda. If they're going to appoint the chief registrar without giving us anybody to select from, and then they're wanting the chief registrar to select the registrars, well, you know, they have complete control over it, and Ed will be the boss of the chief registrar. It's my understanding that Robbie will remain as the IT guy, but he will also get the stipend from the state for the chief registrar position. And they said that Miss Susan is going to remain deputy registrar. So to answer your question, I know that was a long answer, but to answer your question, if she had done something wrong, I would think she would not be deputy registrar anymore. And who knows what they're going to do, because they have not reappointed these two ladies as registrars yet. And we're coming up on an election. This is an important time, and we have an important election coming up. And Jamie Hickox is going to be on the ballot, and everybody needs to check the box for Jamie Hickox. And Fred Anderson also is going to be on there. I've watched these two candidates worked tirelessly for years. I know Jamie, I think she's been there for 8 years, going to almost every meeting. Fred's been there for 3 years. They ask questions. They want to be involved, and that's what you need is a county commissioner that's on fire, that wants to do what's right for the county. And they look through the code books. They double check it. You know, I bring up a lot of information trying to get it out to the public so that people are aware of the things that are going on in there, whether they're legal or they're not legal, whether there's hidden agenda behind them. To me, you have to have a complete board that is willing to go in and do their homework and look and see what's right for the county, what's best for the county, and also what's legal. A lot of this stuff that they're, you know, I don't think this is legal at all, what they're doing right now with the chief registrar. I'll be honest with you. I've looked through the book, and it is not legal. And it says that we are supposed to follow in line with the same way that the grand jury and the Supreme Court, Superior Court judge would pick these applicants for these jobs.
What's the county attorney say? I mean, he's the one supposed to say whether it's legal or not.
You would think he would know. I did ask the question in the meeting if that was following in line with the Georgia election code. And he said he never would say it was, but he was saying him, you know, I don't know. To me, a lawyer for the county should stand up for the people of the county, not just for one group that has an agenda that they want to do. He should be able to state that law and read that law. You know, lawyers have a different language when they write things in the law book. And to me, he should be able to read that, decipher it, and advise the commission when they ask a question on it. He should be able to advise or stop something that's being done illegal.
If you just joined us, Kevin McCrary, County Commissioner, is joining us here on the Butch and Bob Show. One other item that was at the county meeting. They had the TIA projects, and they were approved, but you voted against one of the projects. Why did you vote against that project?
That was the expansion of not Spring Grove, Sunset Boulevard. We've got a big problem, and you were talking about the city a while ago, and their problems with the water and the sewer. This is not a problem that's just come up, and certainly Sunset Boulevard is not a thing, something that has to be done, or a problem that's just come up. This is an ongoing problem. It is growing out there. Dale Keith told me that we have increased the trucks on that road by 100. It was at 125, and there's almost 100 more trucks on that road. You have the new school out there. You have other businesses out there. It's getting very congested, and I did go speak with Dale Keith and Ed Jeffords about that, the road, and maybe that's something we need to do, but I think we need to divert those semis off of that road because somebody's going to get hurt. I don't know if you probably don't ever get out there because you're on the Butch and Bob show. You go out there a little bit before 8 o'clock, and it is congested. You have trucks going through there. We've got to divert that traffic off of that road for the safety of the people, and they're going to put in several turn lanes and things like that so that people can get off the road and these big trucks can get through. And maybe I shouldn't have voted against it, but I think we should go more into detail in a work session, and they did go through some of that in the work session, but we need to have a plan so that we're not stopping the flow of the industry that we're planning on out off of 84 in the new industrial park. I'm totally for that. Dale Keith does a phenomenal job in lining this up and trying to keep us ahead of it. So when an industry does come in, we already have the amenities and everything that they need when they come in. They're ready to go, and they will pick Wayne County because they know we're on top of things. And that's what I think the new commission, once we get in there, they're just like I was saying, they have all, most of them, I know Mike Gordon has been to a lot of meetings. Tim has been to a few meetings, and his work schedule doesn't permit him right now to do that, but they have all been in there, and they want to do what's right for the county, and that's what we've got to have. And once you get that, I think everything else will fall in line. Once you get a commission that wants to do what's right for the county, Fred has been looking through the code books with me and the budget sheets for years, and he wants to do what's right. And I think that would, hopefully when the voters get out, they'll vote for Fred Anderson, bring him up, and we'll all be a united commission, and the industries or people that want to move into Jessup and the people that have been longtime residents will be happy here and be confident in any decision that the commission makes. But now I think that trust is gone away, especially after the $5 million increase when I came into office. That lets you know that the commissioners that were in office were not watching the budget. If you get $8 million in the hole, that was very explicit, and they blamed it on the previous administrator. But if you're supposed to be watching over the budget and the administrator is your employee, I don't see how you can blame it on them.
Want to get towards the end of the show, and talk about hidden agendas. Guys, one final question. We're going to have a new board and commissioners come January. Ed Jeffords is the administrator. There's word out there that he may not survive when the new commission comes in. Your thoughts on his performance? He just had the big retreat. Were you impressed with what he displayed, and where do you stand on the administrator?
Well, I'm not really going to comment on what things that the new commission is planning, but I will tell you, we had a work session few weeks ago. We even in the newspaper they printed that the county was doing excellent, we were doing good, all debts would be paid off at the end of this year. And we get to the last meeting, and I look at our sheet that outlines the spending of the county, and we borrowed $1 million on the TAN, and that's the tax anticipated note, which we at the beginning of the year, the county commission approves a line of credit, so to speak. So if we do get in a bind, we have that line of credit that we can fall back on. But it was never discussed with us on that $1 million to be borrowed. We have to borrow $50,000 to keep the note in play so that if we do need that money. But it was never discussed with any of us, and it's just appalling to me that the other commissioners, when I bring this stuff up, they don't say anything. I mean, they're fine with it, but I have a problem with it. If we give you a line of credit, that's fine, but you tell us 2 weeks earlier that the county's doing great, and then we borrow $1 million, there's something wrong with that. That should be brought before the commission and say, listen, we need to borrow this money because we've had this certain situation come about and we don't have the money to cover it. Well, that was never brought up. They didn't tell us why they borrowed $1 million. And, I've talked to the auditors that go in and audit. We had $3.5 million left over year before last, and last year we had over $3 million left over after everything was spent. So it's crazy. We've got $9 million in the lost, sitting in an account doing nothing with it, but yet we go and pay interest on money for $1 million to borrow it.
I've been on record for years. I don't understand the tax anticipation. That I remember one time it was like $5 million borrowed. I was like, the city doesn't do it, the school board doesn't do it. Why does the county do it? They said standard procedure. They've done it for years, but never. You don't run your household like that. So I don't know.
It's not. They've just been doing it forever.
I'm just anti-tax anticipation though. But anyway, Kevin, I appreciate you coming in. Always good to have you. Like I said, you're welcome anytime. We'll follow this meeting today with the city. We'll follow the county. And continue to see how everything goes after January.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Hopefully we can work with the city. I know Mayor Ralph Hickox, he's wanting to do what's best, and this is clearly a punch at him to do this. It's sad. I'm hoping that the county and the city.
Can you explain what you think is sad? People who just tuned in might not know what you're talking about. Okay.
Well, to have an agenda like this when the mayor's out of town. He is an elected official, and he was elected by everybody in the city, not just certain districts. He was elected by everybody. And, when they voted for him, I'm sure they didn't vote for him to, what did they say, hand out plaques and run the meeting. They expect the mayor to lead, guide, and direct this board, the commission, the city commissioners into the direction that needs to be gone. And it's obviously they are not listening to him. Ralph is a very good businessman, and he thinks ahead and does his homework. Even when he was on the county commission, he did that. Have a lot of respect for him. But they obviously have their own agenda that they want to do, and I'm surprised in some of the city commissioners being sucked into this being done and don't look at the ramifications that are happening from what they're doing to the city, and it's also going to affect the county. But
you're talking about the moratorium on building permits for 120 days. Is what you're talking about, what they passed last week, and what today's meeting at 1 o'clock at City Hall is going to be about also, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. And
if you talk about hidden agendas, from everything I'm hearing, the agenda is they're trying to stop the developer from Hinesville that wants to develop that property behind South Palm Street. He wants to, at first he was out of code, wasn't going by the zone. He changed directions. He's within code, made all his paperwork, presented 20 homes at $200,000 apiece to build on South Palm Street, but they don't want it to take place, so that's why they had the meeting to have the moratorium. That's what I hear is the hidden agenda. I talked to Josh Wheeler from Hinesville, told him we have got this show. He's more than welcome to come on the show. He said he'll be back in touch with us, but right now he's talking to lawyers. So, and Ralph Warren, if you're targeting one developer, you're opening yourself up to possible litigation. I hope the city's not looking at a lawsuit from Mr. Wheeler in Hinesville. But the word around town is that's what this is all about, to stop that development on South Palm Street.
That's right. Well, and you set rules and regulations for building in.
I mean, you talk about hidden agendas. Like I said, there's always there's a story behind the story. But
yes, well,
we'll see how it all plays out. But from what I heard around town, there's a lot of upset people. There's a lot of upset bankers. There's a lot of upset developers. There's a lot of upset real estate people. This has shut down business for 4 months during the holidays. Like I said on my newscast, the Grinch stole Christmas right here at the Christmas time. And you're affecting people like Harris Ace Hardware, Murphy's Builder Supply, Coley Electric, anybody that has anything to do with providing supplies for somebody building a home. If a new couple wants to build a home in the city of Jessup between now and the next 4 months, sorry, you can't do it. I mean, they've affected a lot of, I think they've opened up a can of worms they don't know they opened up, and there's just affecting a lot of people here during the holiday season. Plus, it's going to hurt that 1% sales tax that everybody brags about how much money is being brought in. It affects, there's just, everybody talks about the money. It's going to affect the money.
It is.
It's a shame when you put a, not open for new business sign out in front of your welcome to city sign. So no new businesses will be able to build during the next 4 months. We've got good momentum going in Jessup. A lot of folks that feel that maybe this will stop it.
And the former city manager,
we'll find out.
And the former city manager that was involved in city government and county government for the last 40 years says he's never heard of anybody in the state of Georgia ever doing this.
That's right.
Never. Well, they can't find one example of anybody else across the state of Georgia, city or county government, has ever done this.
Done what, Bob?
Put a moratorium on business. Okay. Shut down, not allowing permits.
In and out, so
people are just like, what are we doing?
I hope this does not affect the digest that much because, it's not only city, it's also county that it affects, and the digest is a big part of that. And as Butch just said, we have a momentum going in this county. I know 3 years ago, the digest went up $20 million. That's the amount of money that the county is worth. This last year, year before last, it went up $20 million, and the last year it went up $60 million. I mean, that's phenomenal growth, and we don't want to stop that growth in this county. If we need to change infrastructure or things like that, we need to take care of it.
Well, the city's been working on infrastructure. City's been working on infrastructure for years. Bob's reported it on the meetings and so forth. It'd be interesting to hear from the department heads who are involved in that to see their opinion on it, the city manager, her opinion on it, and have a situation where you can just have an open forum on this particular issue.
That's right. Well, and the moratorium is, they said, is so they can look at it. They've been looking at this for years.
Well, they've talked about the former city manager, the former mayor involved in a long time, the former city commissioners, and some have been on for a while. They have been working on this infrastructure situation for a long time. They've seen the growth. We've had the growth. They've addressed the problems. They've applied for grants. They've expanded, and you expand as you grow.
That's exactly.
That's why a lot of people. We get text messages. I'm just kind of repeating some of the stuff that we get comments on from folks.
And you plan ahead for things like this. You're going to have growth in the county. The new industrial park, they added that onto the city infrastructure for the city and water and sewer for the city. And that's possibly going to be a big thing. Well, before you allow something like that, you need to make sure you have the infrastructure in place so that can be done. But you don't shut everything down to accomplish that. You have rules and regulations for building in counties and cities, and you follow those rules, and you make sure you have the ability to back up anything that's going to move in. And I don't know.
Okay. All right, Kevin McCrary, Wayne County Commissioner, in this morning talking about the county, and then, of course, his thoughts and feelings on the moratorium on building permits here in Jessup for the next 4 months being shut down. And but, Kevin, we appreciate you coming on. And you got something else?
I got one more thing.
What do you have, Kevin?
I want to let everybody know early voting starts October the 17th and goes through November the 4th. And the election is going to be on the 8th of November, and I hope everybody gets out. You hear the things that are going on. You need to vote for what you want. If you vote the same way you always vote, you're not going to expect any change out of it. And I'm hoping this new election, they're going to. A lot of times when you have Jamie Hickox will be the only one in her district on the voting ballot. but you have to click the box for Jamie Hickox in order to keep her in office. And also Fred Anderson is going to be running in District 4, and I'm hoping we can get him in there because he is on fire for this county, and he wants to see the change made, and I hope the voters back him up by voting for him, whether in early voting or on the election day, so that we can get this county back on board, following not only laws and codes, but following and making sure we're doing what's best for the county, and the taxpayers can be proud of the commission for a change. Thank y'all for letting me come on. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all getting all this information out to the people. If it wasn't for y'all, a lot of people would still be in the dark when they go to vote. And when y'all let me and other people come on here, we're able to get that information out to them and let them know some of the problems and things that are going on. And if they want to vote different and get those problems taken care of, that's their legal right to do so.
Okay. All right. Kevin, take care.
Thank
Bob,
you.
have a good day. All right, 105.5 FM in Jessup, Big Dog Country Radio. We're running really behind, but important issues to be able to talk about here for Jessup and Wayne County. County Commissioner Kevin McCrary, our special guest this morning on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. We'll be back in a moment here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup.
How much more are we paying for stuff? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. We'll find out later this hour with an update on consumer prices for September and how they compare to last year. In recent months, annual inflation has been over 8%.
Inflation continuing to be a weak spot for the president and members of his party. The administration consistently points to rising energy costs as a key driver of overall inflation. And after OPEC Plus snubbed President Biden and moved forward with the production cuts, the president says he's considering calls from Congress to pull back arms sales to Saudi Arabia.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. Inflation's tied directly to Social Security. We'll also find out that